Welcome, everybody, to Stay Tuned Sports. It's your boy King here without Jimbo. Jimbo is busy today. I think he's trying to sell his boat. So, yeah, no Jimbo today. We might do a show together maybe later on in the week, maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday. We'll figure it out. Jimbo apparently also going to be bringing you some more iRacing to the Stay Tuned Sports channel. So you're going to have Friday night iRacing with Jimbo coming up. I do believe that's coming up this Friday. They're going to be, what is it? Atlanta Motor Speedway is they're doing. I believe that's what Jimbo told me. So that is something to look forward to if you like watching the live gaming, the live streaming. Jimbo going to be doing the iRacing right here on the Stay Tuned Sports channel. So you want to go ahead and check that out when it happens. By the way, my name is King. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. By the way, if you're watching us here for the first time, thank you so very much. If you want to help us out here at Stay Tuned Sports, and we certainly do appreciate your help. Let's get the plugs out of the way first, and then we'll move on to what we're going to be talking about here. Oh, wow, I still have the draft ticker on the bottom. I just realized that. Mistake on my part. Anyway, if you guys want to help us out, and a way you can do that, 3 simple ways, 3 free ways you can actually do that. Just hit that like button, helps us out tremendously, especially with the YouTube algorithm. You hit that share button, share us around to a whole bunch of more people that can come over, and also then hit the like button. It's amazing. It's like a self-fulfilling, like, a vicious cycle, only it's not vicious, it's nice. It's a nice cycle. I like that. That's a good idea. Also, if this is your first time here checking us out, please hit that subscribe button. Again, helps us out tremendously. If you want to help us out in a little bit more of a fiduciary way, a little bit more financially, which again, we desperately need. We have a link for our donation station down in the description below this video. Also, our merch store, have a bunch of t-shirts, have a bunch of hoodies, more stuff coming all the time. We've got mugs, we've got banners, more banners coming. We also have, for those mugs, by the way, let me pull this out here. Hey, Stay Tuned Sports Coffee. It's small batch. It is ethically sourced. We wouldn't do it any other way here. Well, we're not monsters. We're not monsters here. And it is roasted in the good old U.S. of A. USA. It's good. It tastes fantastic. Has little hints of like a chocolatey kind of note to it. Very nice. I enjoy it. I like it. I think you will too. You can pick some of this up in the merch store along with a whole bunch of other stuff. Again, the link for the merch store and the donation station down in the description below this video. All right, we've got all that out of the way now. Let's talk a little bit about the NFL draft that just happened. I don't know if you guys watched the live stream that me and Jimbo did on Thursday night for the NFL draft, but suffice to say, I was happy. I, as a New York Giants fan, extremely happy. Joe Shane didn't fuck it up. He did the right thing. He got himself Abdul Carter, which is just I said, if you had either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter there. Now, Travis Hunter went second after the Jaguars traded with the Browns. And we'll get into all this stuff eventually here. Travis Hunter went second. So for the Giants, I mean, it was so simple. Abdul Carter right in your lap. Don't screw it up. Don't screw it up. I still can't believe people were saying to pick Shedeur Sanders there. We will touch on the Shedeur Sanders situation in a little bit. But, man, I'll tell you what. It was good. It was a good feeling as a Giants fan to feel like there was some kind of competence with the draft. We haven't had that in a long time. And, again, as I mentioned on the live stream, not sure that this acquits Joe Shane of all of his buffoonery. And I'm still very hateful towards him and think he should have been fired in January. But we'll see. Because, again, I think this draft was very good. We then traded up, not really trading that much, by the way, to get back into the first round and to pick up Jackson Dart. So if Brian Daboll and if Joe Shane do last more than this year, if they last with the Giants past 2025, which is very much up in the air, let's be honest, as myself and Jimbo have discussed here, then you're looking at a development of a quarterback of the future possibly there for the Giants. So, smart move. I think one of the best pickups was the 4th round when we got Cam Scatterbo. I was jacked when I saw that we had that. I was on the phone with my father on that Saturday. What was it? Just a little bit past noon, because that was again the 4th round. So the picks were coming in fast and furious, and I love the Scatterbo pick. I love having him and Tyrone Tracy in the backfield for the Giants. I like that. It looks like the Giants, for the first time in a long time, maybe have some kind of plan moving forward here. Again, I'm not saying the Giants are going to be the great shakes. I don't think they are. Let's be honest. But for the first time in a while, it seems like there's a plan. There's a formation of a plan. There's 12% of a plan. We'll see how the rest of it goes. But that's how I'm like. Now, again, I'm of the thought that the Giants have to win 8 or 9 games. I would say at least 8 games for Joe Schoen and Brian Dable to keep their jobs. Like, if the Giants are 1-7, 2-8 going into week 9, week 10, somewhere around there, like if that's where they are, I don't think either one of those gentlemen finish out the season. And rightfully so. Again, I thought they should have been gone in January. But if they can show that, this is our deal that we have. Obviously, things didn't work out with Daniel Jones in New York. Obviously, the Saquon situation was completely clusterfucked by Joe Schoen. We've gone through the history of that. Is like that wasn't something that just happened. That was something that was clusterfucked for 3 years by Joe Schoen. So we'll leave it at that. But on top of that, then of course having the Hard Knocks there, showing that in the aftermath didn't help anything for anybody with the Giants organization. Again, it seems like the Giants are going in the right direction. It seems like they have a plan. We'll see how that translates to on the field, and we'll go from there. Again, it's Brian Dable said Russell Wilson is the day one starter for the Giants. Kind of figured that was going to be the way it is. So you're going to have Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston backing him up. You're going to have probably Jackson Dart as the third. Poor Tommy DeVito, fourth quarterback. They just signed him again, and but I have a feel like I don't think they're going to get rid of Tommy DeVito. Maybe they put him on a practice squad, or maybe they do release him and he goes somewhere else. That would be a shame. I like Tommy DeVito, but it is what it is. It's the NFL, baby. So again, I like some of those moves. Again, I like a lot of the other draft picks that the Giants had. It was a good draft. I think the Giants, if we're going to be honest, I think the Giants won the draft. If you can say such things of teams winning a draft or not. I think the Giants are one of those teams that you can say won the draft. The Patriots, I think, did very well with their draft. It's trying to build that. And if there's one thing you notice in the first round of the draft, boy, were offense and defensive linemen coming in at a premium. And that seemed to be the way it goes. And I think that was the message across the board here. Again, this was not a very good quarterback draft. This was not a very good, a ton of skill player draft. But the one thing that I have mentioned a million times on this show to anybody who'll listen, really, I know I kind of look like a crazy hobo right now, so I kind of feel like I'm a crazy hobo yelling at everybody on the street. But what I have said repeatedly over and over and over again is, if you want to build a championship caliber team, if you want to build, the start of a rebuilding process, your foundation, where do all great teams start with their foundation? Offensive line, defensive line, the trenches. That is where you have to start. And I think you're seeing that with a lot of these NFL teams and how they went into this first round, picking their players. So many offensive tackles, offensive guards, defensive ends, edge rushers, defensive tackles, people to stop the run, people to get to the quarterback, people to protect the quarterback, run blockers, pass protectors. Like this was the draft, and that's what I mean. You had the you had who was it? The Bears picked Loveland Everybody thought it was going to be the kid from Penn State, Warren, that went to them and said they picked Loveland out of Michigan. And everybody was like, I don't know. Warren seems to be the better tight end, but I think Warren's the better skill position. I think he's a lot more of a Travis Kelce type, great at catching the ball and moving. But if you're looking for blocking, protecting, pass protecting, run blocking, maybe Loveland I think is a better choice, and I think that's why they made those picks. And we're seeing that. You have the Packers; they went ahead and picked a wide receiver for the first time in some people's lifetimes. So that's pretty, I'm sure Aaron Rodgers is punching the air right now because that's all he ever wanted, and they never did that for him. So kind of funny, but again. That to me was the overwhelming message from the first round of the draft was offensive tackles and guards and linemen, offensive defense line, the trenches, the big boys there on the line of scrimmage. That is where you build your dynasties. That is where you build your championship contenders. And I think the message is finally starting to get across to some of these NFL teams that, yeah, you know what? You can get all the talent in the world and you can have a great quarterback and you can have all these other things. Like I look at the Jets, had a great defense and, you have Aaron Rodgers and you have all these offensive weapons, but if you can't protect anybody, if you can't give anybody time, if you can't run block, then you're a 4-5 win team, 6-win team. Like you're not part of the conversation. You have to be good on both sides of the ball, on both sides of the line of scrimmage, to then start building from your, getting your skill wide receivers, getting your running backs, getting your franchise quarterbacks, getting, building your defensive secondary up from there. Like you have to have that base of the offense or defensive line, either one, both of them. You need both of them. So I think the Giants, again, it's always going to be a question with the Giants of building that offensive line. The last time the Giants had a good offensive line, they won a Super Bowl. The Giants were always in the conversation, always, on the cusp or in the playoffs and going to the Super Bowls when they had a good offensive and defensive lines. Did they have, the world's greatest receiving corps? Did they have the best secondary? No. But you start off with having that good offensive defensive lines, and everything else can find its way to work itself out. And it did for the Giants back then. We haven't had that, obviously in 13 years now, 13 seasons, 14 seasons, whatever it's been. Because, that was the 2011 season when the Giants last won a Super Bowl. So I'm saying it's probably, that's 14 seasons. That's, at some point, you're going to have to build that offensive line. The Giants have spent a decade and a half not doing that. Maybe this will be the catalyst to go ahead and start doing that. The defense looks good. Defensive line looks good. I like some of the moves the Giants are doing. Again, the Eagles making some moves there at the end of the first round. They get Jihad Campbell. Jihad? He's going to be, never mind. I was going to make a bad joke, and I decided against it. If Jimbo was here, he would have made me do it. But Jihad Campbell, he grew up an Eagles fan, so he gets to be with the Eagles now. The Eagles, of course, with another linebacker. I know some people were like, why do they need another linebacker? Is that a need to get? Listen, you can never have too many good linebackers, I suppose. So, again, Eagles, I think they had a good draft to help Jimbo's team out here, to give a little comment towards them. Yes, I think the Eagles were good, and the Eagles, I think, are still the team to beat now. At least in the NFC East, if not the entire NFC. We can make talks about the Lions, or maybe the Packers are ascendant, or if the 49ers can heal up, maybe they can still be there, although they lost a lot of pieces too. So it's a back and forth. So we'll see. But like I said, I think that is the general feeling coming out of the draft, is that you had the offensive, defensive lines. Everybody was trying to build on it. Everybody was picking for that. And Again, I think that's the winning formula. I think that's what you're going to see here too. So, now, again, the other big story coming out of the draft, and it's only a big story because they wouldn't stop fucking talking about it. Obviously, and by them I mean ESPN, the sports media, ESPN. We all know it's the sports media, ESPN. And some of these talking heads, Mel Kiper Jr., Shedeur Sanders falling all the way to the 5th round. Now, a lot of people were surprised by this. Mostly a lot of the talking heads, Rich Eisen, Mel Kiper, Todd McShay, all the usual suspects, if you will. I would say Stephen A. Smith, but I don't. He's his own category of numbnuts, so I'll leave him over there for other people to deal with. But if you were hearing some of the stuff coming out, even before the draft, you would think, hey, I don't know if this guy's going to go. I think people were so enamored by thinking, like, this kid is generally so good. Which, again, if you look at the stats, you look at the tape, you look at the eye test, I mean, is he okay? Yes. Is he a good quarterback that could become great in the NFL with given time and development? Absolutely. I think you can say that about a lot of quarterbacks. But that he was going to be a de facto top 3, top 5 pick always seemed off to me, which is why when people were talking about, the Giants are going to pick Shedeur Sanders at 3, I was like, no, if they fucking do that, I would have left the live stream. I would have been gone. Adios, see you later. Nothing more to discuss about it. I would have been out. But you were starting to hear those stuff coming out about how, boy, didn't really interview well. Was having some problems. He's not really. He's, and it wasn't just 1 or 2 teams. And then you started to hear it coming out like, They had the interview with Daboll, and if anybody had watched Hard Knocks and they had Daboll interviewed these young quarterbacks and these kids at the combine and pre-draft stuff, like, and a lot of them got it. Like Jaden Daniels got it, like, and I know that the Giants were huge on Jaden Daniels and wanted to trade up to get him, but Washington was not going to let that happen. They were big and high on a lot of those quarterbacks because they were prepared and they were ready and they were sharp and Daboll tested them, and they did it. And they kind of did that off the cuff. Now, with Shedeur, what we heard is like the Giants had sent him a packet of stuff to read over, to study. And when Daboll went out there to talk to him, like, Shedeur he didn't even open it. He didn't open it. Not one bit. Didn't know what he was talking about. The reports coming out were that he was very unprofessional, that it wasn't contentious, but that it was very disappointing from the Giants' perspective and Daboll. And then you started hearing the same thing coming out of the Saints camp. You started hearing the same things coming out of the Steelers camp. All of a sudden, like, you have these teams that went out there to see him and were going to his pro day and were trying to talk to him and his dad and do all that kind of stuff. And you start hearing reports come out like there's not a lot of happiness with the way it's coming across, how he's coming across as not prepared. He's coming across as it wasn't even about like the attitude or cockiness, because in my estimation, you want a cocky quarterback. You want a quarterback that says, I'm the best guy in this fucking draft and you should draft. Like, to me, that's not the problem. And I see some people out there trying to say like, oh, that was the problem, is that he was so cocky. And no, you want that from your quarterback. If your quarterback isn't out there saying, I'm the best guy for this job, I'm going to change your franchise, you pick me, we're going places. Like, that is not a turnoff for anybody. What is a turnoff is not being prepared, appearing lazy, and just generally being unprofessional. And we've seen in the past with Jamarcus Russell, we've seen in the past with early on Kyler Murray. We all know the whole having the video game clause and in his contract when they renegotiated with him, it said that he had to watch certain amounts of film, and then they had to take it out because all of a sudden people saw it became a huge hullabaloo, whatever. But like, it was Like it was there, it was known. Like, you have to prepare. You have to watch film. You have to be a professional. This is a job. And if you're not going to act professional, if you're not going to act like, this is your job and it's not just you, but you have an entire organization and people's jobs on the line based on how good you prepare and how good you're ready, and your professionalism is going to dictate if some people have jobs or not. And you come across as flippant and, laissez-faire, I don't give a shit. Just give me the ball and let me go up there and I'll do it. Like, people are going to get turned off by that. And sure enough, they were. So he fell out of the first round and people were shocked. People were shocked. Then he fell out of the second round and people were flabbergasted. And when he fell out of the third round and was going to go into day 3 of the draft, people were straight up gobsmacked. They had no idea. They were like, this has got to be some kind of collusion. This has got to be some kind of, what is going on here? They're trying to teach him a lesson because of his dad. First of all, he didn't have an agent. Apparently, Dion was his agent, or was the only person they were talking to. And that's the other thing, too, is they never approached the draft like, hey, whoever picks us, we're going to improve your team. We're going to, trying to sell themselves to the team. They sat back and were like, sell yourself to us. Let's see if Shedeur wants to go. If you'll have the privilege of having the great Shedeur Sanders, who had his number 2 retired after having a 500 record at Colorado, come and grace your peasant franchise with his presence. Like, that was also another thing that I think turned a lot of teams off. It's like, no, tell us why you should be our quarterback, not why we should go ahead and grab you. This is, that's the thing. He thought, in my mind, Shedeur and Dion from that aspect thought that this was a case of they were the top guy. He was the top guy in the draft, and that all the teams had to sell themselves to him. Or he'd be like, I'll just go back to college. I'll just do that. And and I'll wait that out. Instead of, hey, draft me and I can help you be better. And because of that, that's another thing that caused him to drop 1, 2, 3. And then he dropped out of the 4th round. So he went the whole 4th round on Saturday and didn't get drafted. And now you're thinking, does he go undrafted? Then you started hearing talks of, does he go back to college? Does he play? Does he say screw this and go back to college, unretire his number from Colorado and go back to college, and play one more year and see if you can help raise your stock or raise yourself better or do something like some people talking about if he went to Canada, which by the way I believe the Toronto Argonauts have his rights. So if things don't work out in the NFL, the Argonauts there in the CFL have first dibs on Shedeur if he wants to go play north of the border. So there's that. You know what I mean? I think that's another reason when you talk about his unpreparedness and apparent unprofessionalism in these team meetings. Now you add on to the fact that he was trying to have teams sell themselves to him instead of him selling himself to the teams. Like, this is why you need me. It was like, why should I go to you? It's like, that's not how the draft works, kid. That's not how it works. And finally, I think the Browns picking him at 144 to me feels like an owner pick. That feels like Jimmy Haslam being Mr. Interference again. We all know Jimmy Haslam. He makes the best decisions when it comes to quarterbacks, doesn't he? And the Browns now have a overflowing quarterback room with, ostensibly Deshaun Watson is still there in the quarterback room, even though he's for all intents and purposes, he's done with the Browns. He ruptured his Achilles again. He's not going to play this year. I doubt he's going to play again. But you have now Shedeur, you have Joe Flacco, you have Kenny Pickett, and you have, who was the other kid they drafted? Was it Gilbert from Oregon? Yeah, because Shuck is down in New Orleans. Great name, by the way. So you have a pretty full room. So now it's a case of You're not going to be the starting quarterback. If you're Shedeur Sanders, you're not going to be the starting quarterback, especially week one. Maybe at some point in the season you are, but I think week one is going to be Joe Flacco. Um, and then you're fighting to see if you're good enough to be the backup. Are you good enough to replace Kenny Pickett, or are you going to be the emergency quarterback? Or do you finish behind Gilbert? Are you going to be the practice squad guy that they're going to have you doing cornerback drills like the Giants did with Daniel Jones back in the day? So I'm interested to see how he handles that. If he does handle it, I mean, listen, there's still the possibility he jumps back into college. There's still the possibility that we'll see. And again, there's a possibility that he does well, that he does get the backup role, and then eventually maybe he does start for the Browns. A lot of people thinking that he will. I feel like if Shedeur Sanders quit the games, quit the, I'm so great. You guys are so lucky to have me here. Oh, I'm the greatest. Things to please hold your applause. I'm so great. Like if he stops that shit, if he puts his nose to the grindstone, that whole thing, if he studies the playbook, if he studies the film, if he's in that quarterback, be the quintessential first one in, last one out kind of guy. If he shows that he can do that while still being a backup, like that's the thing. It's easy to put the effort in when you're the guy. Can you still put the effort in when you're not the guy? When we're trying to determine if you can be the guy. If he can do that, if he can show up and put in the effort, even being the backup, if he can go in and show that he's dedicated, reads the playbook, studies the film, is a participant in the meetings and in practices and shows that he knows what he's doing, that he knows what he's talking about, that all the pre-draft meetings might have been, just bad advice and just a mistake that happened. And now he's, again, nose to the grindstone, working hard and showing the dedication to improve himself and his game to an NFL level. I think the sky's the limit, and I think the Browns might have gotten a steal, 1,000%. If he doesn't do that, then that's going to be a case of we'll see. I think if he dedicates himself, I think he's a guaranteed NFL starter, and I think he's a good NFL starter that could be great. If he doesn't dedicate himself, it's another Browns quarterback. Check. I mean, at this point, that is what it is. Also, just some other NFL news today that I saw that just broke before we came on. Travis Jordan from the formerly of the Florida State Seminoles, who of course we all know he got injured before the ACC championship game, and then even though they won, they were undefeated. They kept them out of the playoffs because they had lost. Did I say Travis Jordan? It's Jordan Travis. Yeah, me. But they had kept Florida State out, and it was a whole big thing. Whatever. The Jets drafted him, even though he had the leg injury. They were kind of like, we're going to hedge our bets. We think this kid is great. And clearly he was. He single-handedly almost brought Florida State to the college football playoffs when apparently it seemed like they should have been there and they weren't. But if he hadn't got injured, Florida State was going to be in that college football playoff. And we don't know what would have happened. Maybe they would have got stomped. Maybe they would have played in the national championship. We don't know. But we'll never know now. But the Jets kind of took a chance on drafting him. And unfortunately, it turned out that the leg injury just did not rehab or heal the way that Jordan Travis was hoping. And he announced his retirement today. Never got to play snap in the NFL. It really is a damn shame. I was hoping he was going to heal up and be able to get better. We'd be able to see what his talents would look like in the NFL. But unfortunately, we didn't get to see that. And but again, I certainly hope for all the best for Jordan Travis, and that he's able to go ahead and I don't know. Did he graduate Florida State? Is he fully graduated or not? I don't know. But if not, I hope he goes back and gets his degree. I hope he certainly is able to lead a rich and full and fulfilling life, even without the game of football. But it's a damn shame we didn't get to see him on the NFL field. So, just take care of yourself, Jordan, and keep that, keep that leg going, keep that leg elevated. And we certainly hope that you stay well, you stay healthy, and not saying enjoy retirement, because it kind of sucks that you have to retire because of the injury. But I certainly hope that you have a great rest of the life. This chapter's closed. You're very young. You have a whole chapter ahead of you, man. You got chapters upon chapters upon chapters of life. So I certainly hope the best for you there. My Devils got eliminated last night in double overtime. Lost the series to the Hurricanes 4-1, which if anybody was paying attention to me 2 weeks ago, I kind of said it wouldn't surprise me if the Devils got swept. Probably should have. Again, the only game we won was in a double overtime. Again, we were up 3-0 in the game last night after the first period. Went into the third period, tied 4-4, because of course we did. Just lazy hockey, slow hockey. I don't know if the team gave up because Jack was injured. Again, the second half of the season, the Devils were not the same team as they were in the first half. I don't know if that's coaching. I don't know if that's I have no idea what to ascribe to it, but it didn't feel like the Devils were going to do anything in these playoffs or make any noise, and sure enough, we did it. So that is, but we made the playoffs. The Rags didn't, the Islanders didn't, and the Flyers didn't. So in my mind, still a successful season. I'll take it. Knicks lost. They are going back to Detroit for Game 6. What else happened? The Heat got destroyed. Boy, the Heat just gave up. I don't know. I didn't see any of the other scores or anything like that. Again, it's hard to pay attention to the NBA. NHL is pretty decent right now. Again, I'm a little disheartened about my Devils. I was focusing mostly on them. Toronto, after being up, I think it was at 3-0 on the Senators, they've lost 2 in a row. So now everybody, the buttholes in Toronto are super puckered. They're super puckered. So we'll see. Do they blow it again? If the Senators win Game 6 and it goes 3-3, the suicide watch going on in Toronto is going to be for everybody. Everybody. Stay safe out there, Maple Leafs fans. It's not the end of the world. You might think it is, but it's not. Trust me. Hey, listen, the Argonauts might get Shedeur Sanders, so always look on the bright side. But for now, I think that's going to do it for me. Again, little shorter show. Jimbo wasn't here. We talked a little bit about the draft, talked about some of the other things going on in the world of sports, and I want to thank you so much for being here with us for this wonderful episode. Again, might do something a little bit later with Jimbo as well tomorrow, maybe Friday, and of course, Friday, Jimbo's going to be doing iRacing. Friday night iRacing with Jimbo. That will be coming up on Friday. Make sure you pay attention and look out for that. Have some fun with Jimbo as he does a little virtual racing right here on the Stay Tuned Sports channel. Well, at least until he crashes, so we don't know. Could be 10 minutes, could be 5 minutes, could be half an hour, could be longer. I don't know. Knowing Jimbo, it's probably going to be under a half an hour before he crashes, so we'll see. But until then, and until next week, and until whenever the hell we come back on the air here on the Stay Tuned Sports channel, I want to thank you so much again. If you want to help us out, hit that like button, hit that share button, and of course, if this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. It helps us out so much. It helps us out tremendously, and you can help us out. Those are 3 free things you can do. If you want to help us out a little bit more, again, like I said, with the monies, the currency, the cash, you can go to our donation station or to our merch store. Link is in the description below. Until I get... wait, I lost myself. Until next time. That's what I was meant to say, but I gets all mixed up in the brain. I got to start drinking again, I guess. Until next time, my name is King. This has been Stay Tuned Sports, and we'll see you later, folks. Adios.